Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. When people mention Shen Wansan, many think of him as a legendary magnate from the Ming dynasty, reputed to be wealthy enough to rival a nation. Shen Wansan, whose real name was Shen Fu and styled Zhongrong, was a renowned tycoon in the Jiangnan region during the late Yuan and early Ming dynasties. His footprints were left across places like Shen Village, Zhouzhuang, Suzhou, Nanjing, and even Yunnan. Originally, his family were ordinary farmers in Huzhou, Zhejiang province, who gradually improved their living conditions through generations of diligent farming. Shen Wansan's father, Shen Yu, later settled in Shenjiang village in Nanshuan town, Huzhou, and subsequently relocated to Zhouzhuang in Kunshan, opening a new chapter for the Shen family. At first, the Shen family relied on cultivating land for their livelihood and gradually accumulated some capital. Later, they established Zhouzhuang as a hub for goods trade and ventured into commerce. After taking over the family business, Shen Wansan, with his sharp business acumen and tireless efforts, quickly amassed tremendous wealth. He fully exploited Zhouzhuang's advantageous location near waterways, expanding his business to distant regions and even engaging in overseas trade. His flexible and ingenious management strategies propelled him to prominence, making him the foremost commercial leader in Jiangnan, earning him the title of being wealthy enough to rival a nation. However, his immense fortune inevitably attracted the attention of the imperial court. Historical context. According to historical records, in 1367, when Zhu Yuanzhang attacked Suzhou, the city was able to hold out for over 8 months largely due to the immense financial support from wealthy merchants in Suzhou, with Shen Wansan being the most significant contributor. Nevertheless, Zhang Shicheng was eventually defeated. When the northern gate of Suzhou was breached, Shen Wansan realized he was in grave trouble. As expected, the vengeful Zhu Yuanzhang harbored deep resentment against the wealthy residents of Suzhou, even extending his wrath to ordinary citizens, launching a series of retaliatory actions. Facing impending disaster, Shen Wansan understood he had to find a way to save himself. He knew that while money could be regained, life was irreplaceable. Upon learning that Zhu Yuanzhang intended to repair the city of Nanjing, Shen Wansan immediately brought his resources and pledged to contribute significantly to the project. Seeing this, Zhu Yuanzhang regarded him as a fat sheep offering itself up for slaughter and decided to accept the substantial funds. These funds facilitated approximately 1/3 of the repairs to Nanjing. Shen Wansan took this task seriously, personally supervising the work daily and often losing sleep over it. On the one hand, he was thrilled to be serving the court. Yet on the other, he harbored an unshakable sense of unease. His advisors repeatedly cautioned him. Building the city is no trivial matter, Master Shen, you must not stand out too much. However, Shen Wansan, with his ambitious personality and a businessman's characteristic decisiveness and confidence, dismissed their warnings. As the construction progressed, Shen Wansan spared no effort, mobilizing merchant fleets, recruiting craftsmen, and procuring materials, ensuring the city walls of Nanjing were solid, imposing, and magnificent. Notably, several stone bridges in the eastern part of the city featured rare carving techniques. Each stone was meticulously polished, and the bridges were smooth and symmetrical, making pedestrians feel as if they were walking in a painting. Although Shen Wansan temporarily saved his life with this hefty donation, his wealth and influence continued to arouse Zhu Yuanzhang's suspicion. This led to the infamous banquet incident. The banquet. Zhu Yuanzhang decided to host a banquet, inviting Shen Wansan. In reality, it was a test. Shen Wansan sensed the underlying implications but accepted the invitation nonetheless, realizing that this was no ordinary act of hospitality but a critical trial of life and death. On the day of the feast, Shen Wansan was seated beside Zhu Yuanzhang. Palace maids filed in, serving exquisite dishes one after another. With the table adorned with an array of delicacies. Soft music played, and dancers performed gracefully. The entire palace was immersed in lively music, and the atmosphere gradually reached its peak. Just as everyone was reveling in the feast. A dish of braised pork trotters, glistening with oil and emitting an irresistible aroma, was placed in the center of the table. It stood out strikingly. However, as soon as the dish appeared, the previously joyful atmosphere slightly froze. The officials and scholars instantly fell silent, their breathing becoming cautious and restrained. Zhu Yuanzhang's gaze swept across the faces of the attendees before resting on Shen Wansan. With a meaningful smile, he asked gently but with a hint of probing, "This dish looks good. Tell me, what is its name?" Shen Wansan's heart tightened upon hearing these words. He lifted his gaze toward Zhu Yuanzhang. Beneath that seemingly amicable smile lay a sharp edge that sent a chill down Shen's spine. Before him was a dish of stewed pig's trotters, glistening with tempting colors and succulent tenderness. Yet, the homophone between pig, zhu, and zhu, was an unmistakable and layered metaphor. Shen Wansan knew well that Zhu Yuanzhang was a deeply suspicious man, particularly wary of wealthy merchants. Given his own vast fortune and influence, he was already treading on thin ice. This dish was no mere matter of culinary naming but a perilous test with life and death implications. A single misstep could lead to his ruin. At this moment, the banquet hall fell into a tense silence. All eyes were fixed on Shen Wansan, their breaths held in anticipation. A seemingly ordinary dish of stewed pig's trotters had turned the atmosphere into one of intense unease. Remaining composed, Shen Wansan maintained a calm expression. Slowly, he lifted his head, his lips curling into a faint smile. Picking up his chopsticks, he carefully examined a piece of the dish before speaking softly, "This dish is called Wansan trotters." By replacing pig with his own name, Wansan, he deftly neutralized the hidden danger in the situation. This clever response not only demonstrated his wit but also left Zhu Yuanzhang without any pretext for hostility. With this understated reply, Shen Wansan successfully turned the crisis around and escaped unscathed, for now. Although Shen Wansan had skillfully handled Zhu Yuanzhang's test, he did not entirely dispel the emperor's suspicions. Later, when Zhu Yuanzhang sought to reward his troops, he asked Shen Wansan how much silver he could contribute. With confidence, Shen boldly declared that he could provide each soldier with 1 tael of silver. Though his words reflected his generosity, they inadvertently sowed the seeds of further trouble. A merchant wealthy enough to produce such an enormous sum at once could not fail to arouse Zhu Yuanzhang's vigilance. The emperor grew increasingly uneasy, wondering, could Shen Wansan use his immense wealth to bribe the army, even threatening the stability of the court? After all, as the saying goes, men die for wealth, as birds die for food. Thus, Zhu Yuanzhang's suspicion and discontent toward Shen Wansan deepened, to the point where he even considered eliminating him. However, under the advice of Empress Ma, the emperor ultimately spared Shen's life, choosing instead to exile him to Yunnan. The once dominant tycoon of the business world began a life of exile from that point onward. He was forced to leave his hometown and journey to the wild and remote regions, his former glories fading into fleeting memories. According to legend, Shen Wansan lived out the rest of his turbulent life in solitude in Yunnan. As for his cause of death and the exact time of his passing, there has been much debate throughout history. Nevertheless, Shen Wansan's name endures in popular memory, celebrated for his immense wealth and legendary life. His stories of business acumen and courage continue to be passed down as timeless tales in the Jiangnan region. The ancient town of Zhouzhuang, which flourished thanks to Shen Wansan, also gained fame for its association with him. The town attracts countless visitors eager to recall the legacy of this Jiangnan magnate. His story has become an eternal legend of wealth and wisdom in the hearts of later generations. According to some historians, Shen Wansan's fate reflects the complex power dynamics between merchants and authority during that era. Despite possessing an unparalleled fortune, he could never contend with the suppression of imperial power. In the feudal system, no matter how prosperous a merchant might be, they had to tread cautiously in the face of the emperor's supreme authority. This episode in history serves as a poignant reminder that while wealth can bring glory, it is fragile when confronted by power. A single misstep can plunge one into the abyss. Shen Wansan's story is not only the legend of a wealthy merchant but also a mirror reflecting the intricate relationship between wealth and authority in ancient times. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.